Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I made a joke about testing his friend in bed. He said the results would be settled in court. What I thought was a harmless, careless quip ended up shattering everything I had built. Sometimes, a single wrong sentence can unravel years of life, love, and trust. That's exactly what happened to me. Ryan and I had been married for 4 years. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but it was steady. He was the kind of man who planned every detail and kept his emotions in check. I was the opposite. Impulsive, sarcastic, always trying to make light of tense moments. That balance had worked for a while, but recently it was fraying. The spark between us had dimmed, and our conversations had devolved into nothing but logistics, bills, chores, deadlines. I tried to lighten things up, crack jokes, tease, bring back the warmth. But Ryan wasn't responding. He had grown distant, silent, emotionally unavailable. That's when his best friend, Mark, started showing up more often. He was everything Ryan wasn't: loud, charming, witty. Mark made me laugh, made me feel noticed again, and for the first time in months, I enjoyed attention that wasn't cold or calculated. I didn't intend for anything to go beyond friendly banter, but I laughed too much at his jokes, lingered too close. I thought it was innocent. One evening, after a dinner with friends, we were all sitting around with wine, teasing each other about relationships. Mark joked about how women sometimes test their partners. I, tipsy and careless, said the words that would ruin everything: maybe I should see how Ryan's friend performs in bed. The table went silent. Then everyone laughed except Ryan. He stared at me with eyes I didn't recognize, cold, unreadable. I tried to brush it off, nervously chuckling, insisting it was just a joke. But Ryan didn't respond. He stood, excused himself, and left. That was the moment everything began to collapse. The next morning, the house was suffocatingly silent. Ryan didn't speak. He didn't meet my eyes. When I tried to explain, he said quietly, "You sounded serious. That's what hurts." I panicked, insisting he was overreacting, but my words fell flat. Our trust, our bond, everything seemed to crack in that instant. Days passed. Ryan retreated further into himself. He stopped sharing meals, stopped texting, stopped engaging at all. Nights became long, cold stretches of loneliness. I tried to bridge the gap, cooked his favorite meals, left notes, begged for conversation, but nothing worked. The distance became a canyon. One afternoon, I returned home to find him sitting on the couch with a man in a suit. The man introduced himself as Ryan's lawyer. I laughed, thinking it was some kind of prank. Ryan's face didn't change. "I'm filing for divorce," he said quietly. "And for defamation. You humiliated me in front of people we both know. You made it sound like I wasn't enough. Like I was being measured against my own best friend." My throat went dry. I tried to explain, to defend myself. "It was just a joke," I whispered. "Please, you know I didn't mean it." Ryan's expression remained icy. "You turned something sacred into a game. You tested my love. Now I'll test yours in court." And just like that, he walked away. The following weeks were a haze. Friends who had laughed at my joke disappeared. Rumors spread that maybe it wasn't a joke at all, that I had crossed a line. Mark stopped visiting. When I reached out to him, there was no reply. His loyalty was with Ryan. I watched everything I'd built, my marriage, my friendships, my reputation, slip away. When the court documents arrived, the reality hit. Ryan had been serious. I had publicly humiliated him, and now the law would hold me accountable. In the courtroom, I sat across from him, unable to meet his eyes. The man who once held me through sleepless nights now seemed like a stranger. His lawyer outlined how my words had caused emotional harm. When I spoke, I tried to make it clear that I hadn't intended pain, that I was just trying to amuse, to reconnect, to be noticed again. But looking into Ryan's eyes, I saw what I had failed to recognize until then. My comment didn't come from humor. It came from frustration, resentment, and the selfish desire to feel seen. In a single moment, I had destroyed the trust, love, and life we had shared. The court ruled in his favor. Ryan left town, started a new job, and eventually moved on with someone who embodied quiet stability, the opposite of me. I was left with the ruins of my own making. An empty apartment, an empty bed, and the echoing weight of regret. It's been a year. I still remember that night in vivid detail, the laughter, the silence, the hardening of his gaze. I replay it constantly, wishing I could undo the words. But words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. Sometimes I wonder if Ryan thinks of me at all, if he remembers the love we once shared. But I know I gave him no reason to. I turned our life together into a punchline. And in doing so, I became the villain of my own story. Now, when I hear people joke about relationships, I freeze. I've learned how quickly humor can become harm, How one careless sentence can destroy trust and love. If I could go back, I wouldn't joke. I'd speak honestly about feeling lonely, about missing him, about wanting to reconnect. Ryan once said, "Love isn't tested with games. It's proven through honesty." I didn't understand then. I do now. Because I joked about testing his friend in bed, and the consequences weren't laughter or anger or revenge. They were real, painful, and irreversible. I failed the only test that mattered. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see the witty, confident woman I once was. I see someone who learned too late that love is measured not by cleverness or attention. It's measured by respect. Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers.